What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Like always, like and subscribe, leave a comment down below, hit that notification bell. Today I want to do a quick video going over Clive Barker's The Damnation game. Let's get it right out. I rated it a 7 out of 10. It should have been a perfect 10 out of 10, but there's one thing in books that I just can't stand, and that's when, here's a spoiler, this will be the only spoiler in the video, when, you know, there's dog murder, and there was a ton of it, and like twice, because the evil dude in the book was able to like resurrect people and things, and his like one of his slave things just kills all these dogs that are security dogs. Then he brings them back to life to do his bidding, and so they kill him again. It's terrible. It's disgusting. But otherwise, you know, this book would have been perfect. You know, I don't know if it would have been my favorite book of the month, but it's definitely one of my favorite books I've ever read. Clive Barker is now on my radar. I do have Cold Heart Canyon somewhere by him, and I will be reading it. And I have another book by him coming. So, actually, let me pause the video real quick because I'm going to adjust my situation. Because okay, I was trying to stand to do the video, but it wasn't working out for me. And you know, as always, the kid's going to scream and cry. He's been real silent until I started recording, so it's just super, it just drives me nuts. But this book was great. Clive Barker is a master horror writer. It was extreme. There was things going on in this book that were just super extreme, nerve-wracking, disgusted me. I was cringe. Everything that's horrible, he wrote it, but the story was so good. This is the best way I could explain the environment of this book. Was it was dingy. It was just, the air about it was just sick, you know, like you felt like you were walking through soot. You're breathing in just disgust and sickness, and the smell of rotting meat. You could smell it almost. You could taste it while you were reading. It was disgusting, actually. But man, the book itself was just great. Magnificent writing. I was totally entranced into the story. I couldn't stop. Like, you know, today is April 4th of 2026, and this is my 5th novel down this month. I'm on a roll. I had a blast with this bad boy. So basically, you're following. The beginning of the book starts off like World War II, Nazis and all that stuff, and you follow this guy. He's called the Thief. And he's looking for, like, basically like a dude that everybody's scared of. People, he's a murderer, all this stuff. But he plays a card game. It's a high-stakes card game. Well, the thief finds him. They play cards. And then that's it. The story switches. Now you're following Marty Strauss. He's in prison for gambling everything away. And he's visited by a guy named Mr. Toy. And Mr. Toy works for a man named Mr. Whitehead, and Whitehead was the thief from the beginning of the book, which you find out later on. So that's as far as we're going to go with that. So Marty Strauss is given the opportunity to be a bodyguard and work for Mr. Whitehead. You know, we wouldn't have a story otherwise. Everything seems, you know, everything's weird and all that stuff, but Marty goes through the motions, and he starts, you know, he ends up meeting the few other people that work there in the estate. It's a huge, like, you know, Whitehead's super filthy, disgusting rich. Marty finds Whitehead's daughter, who, you know, is addicted to heroin and basically like his little slave because she needs her fix. But she has a little bit of a power, like your main antagonist, who his name is, we'll just call him, he's called two names. We'll call him by his, the last European, his nickname. Dude is nut. It's first off, when you meet the first, his like slave antagonist that's throughout the book, Breer, or he's also called the Razor Eater. He's this sick in the head dude, and right when you meet him, he's hanging himself, killing himself. While he wakes up, the last European saves him, and this dude Breer is whacked in the head. So there's a ton of trigger warnings that go with this book if you're one of those people that needs trigger warnings, and I'll name them off. There's RAPE. There's dog murdering. There is little kid murdering. There's, what else? It's a lot. There's little kid molestation. There is almost teenage gang rape. or RIP. I'll edit that out. I won't. There's a scene where you meet one of Breer's victims in a cellar. She's dead, but she's just a little girl, and he was basically. Oh, there's cannibalism. Let's put that. There's the other one. That's I couldn't think of it. I know most people don't care about cannibalism, but when you find out in the book, I won't spoil it for you. But what I will say is, Breer was making the little girl eat herself to death and doing, everything imaginable to it. So, anyways, Whitehead and his cronies, they're all part of that upper room Hollywood, PDF elite kind of stuff. And Marty finds out because they're basically wanting to watch him, have sex with this young girl, and he's like, oh hell no, he gets out of there. It was disgusting. The whole scene was just like, I was like, bleh. I was like, I'm not gonna try to read over this fast because I was just puking in my mouth. When I got to that, I realized dog murder is not so bad anymore. You know what I mean? But I hate dog murders in the book, and I definitely hate all the other stuff that happened. It was burnt up. I mean, it was messed up. It was, oh, this book ain't gonna leave my brain for a long time. It was twisted in every sense of the imagination, but it wasn't twisted for. It wasn't just shock for shock's sake. The story was really freaking good. You know what I mean? Like this, I just there was no way I could DNF it because right from the get go, when you meet Marty, and you get into this like this suddy, nasty. It's all based in foggy, dreary England. The weather's just bad the whole time. Like the Harry Potter world or something. It was just you were there, man. Like Clive Barker had me there in the book. I was like, holy crap. I was having a freaking blast. Besides the sick, disgusting stuff that happened. So just know, like, this book should easily be a 10 out of 10. But, you know what? I'm going to take it back. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 and just forget about it. Like, you know what? The dogs, there were pets to the dog keeper, and she was super devastated. But you don't really even see her much in the book at all, besides when she shows Marty the dogs and then when they're burying the dogs. And then, of course, the last European resurrects the dogs to do more stuff, and it's just disgusting. It's horrible. You know what? 7 out of 10. I can't give it a 10 out of 10. The dog crap and the little kid stuff was just too much. That's like two of my pet peeves right there in one book. I was like, holy moly. But where Clive Barker separates himself from modern like splatterpunk writers and stuff is there's a story there, and the story is it's perfect. It's such a great story, and it comes out in the end with a nice subtle ending. It's nothing the ending's not spectacular, but it doesn't leave you with a sour taste in your mouth. It definitely, man, he does an amazing job. The story alone is just so good, and I know for a fact when I get through this pile, these stacks behind me, I'm going to read the next two Clive Barker books I have in May or June. Like, I have to. His writing is magnificent. And, I think one of them's not even horror. I don't know. I got to look through his stuff. From what I've heard on TikTok, people talking to me, he's totally underrated. And I understand, like, he shouldn't be underrated. This book was awesome. I mean, the story was awesome. The grotesque, disgusting stuff was grotesque and disgusting. But I imagine if you can read this book and handle it, you can read just about anything. So, like I listed all the triggers. It was all there. All of it. It was... that's the other one. Incest. Also incest. I forgot. So, yeah, it's all there in this book. Holy moly, though. Man, I can't get over it. It's going to be in my brain for the rest of my life. I'll never have to reread it because I'll remember it forever because it was worked up. You know what I mean? It was messed up. It was like reading a Cannibal Corpse song, but in novel formation. But you know what I mean? It should have been a 10 out of 10, but we'll give it you know what? I'm just going to have to change it. I'm going to have to give it a 10 out of 10 because I know I got other disgusting books on the TBR and things are going to happen in them that I don't agree with. But guess what? The world is messed up. And Clive Barker puts you in a messed up world that you're like, oh man, dude. It just makes you hate the rich elite even more because you know that these rich, nasty people do this kind of upper room stuff. You know they do. So next up, though, on the TBR is something a lot more lighthearted and cozy and chill. And I need it after that one. I was going to read another horror book, because the poll was tied for a while, but somebody came through and put this one. I was like, you know what? Thank you, because I need something not so messed up to read next. So we got Star Wars X-Wing Wraith Squadron. Thing about this book is, I already read it once this year, 2026, but I was so distracted by other things going on in life that I just didn't give it a fair assessment. I shot the review, and I was totally harsh. And I was like, you know what? I need to read it again to make sure that I'm right about that, because I don't think I was. I think I just didn't. I wasn't in it. You know, I wasn't in it to win it, like Bring It On 4. You know what I mean? Is that number 4? Bring It On, bring it in it to win it? Maybe. With Hayden Panettiere. Anyways, we always do that. I get distracted. Also, check out the shirt, Gutter Garbs. If y'all, I'm not sponsored, but if you want to go look at the shirts, House by the Cemetery, one of my favorite movies of all time. Now that I'm back into horror, I'm so glad to be watching that stuff again. The wife and I have watched all kinds of crazy stuff. Also, in my May TBR, because I'm gonna, whatever I get to in my pile behind me by May is where I'm gonna stop, so I can redo my TBR, because I want to change it up. I know I did the till summer TBR, but honestly, if I stay at this rate, I should get through most of that read till summer TBR. But I've added a lot of books in. I've shifted a lot around. It's not even what it was in that video, but this book was, oh man, I'll never stop thinking about it. 10 out of 10. You know what I mean? 10 out of 10. I was gonna rate it bad, but I just can't. I just can't. I know every trigger in America was in this book, but 10 out of 10. Maybe that's why he's underrated. People are scared to read him, because, you know, it's every trigger warning is in there. It's everything. It was all in there, you know what I mean? But yeah, 10 out of 10. One of my favorite books I've ever read, to be honest, especially in the horror genre. Like, I love this thing. I stayed up to like 1:30 just reading. I could not stop last night. And then today I just was like, finally, when I came to after my lethargic haze from staying up late, because I'm old, you know, I just, my birthday's the day of shooting this. It's the next day. And I'll be like, how old am I going to be? I'll be old. I'm just there. I don't even know. It's either 37, 38, or 39 or 40. I'm in that area. I don't even care anymore. I don't pay attention. But dude, this book's gonna stick with me forever. I kind of want to. I'm gonna read the books I got of Clive Barker, and then I'm gonna place an order this summer for some of his other works. I'm gonna do some minor research into his work and see what strikes my fancy. I know I want the Hellraiser books, the Hellbound Heart, or whatever it's called. I know I want those. I'm a huge fan of the Hellraiser franchise. I've seen them all. I was one of the few that loved the reboot. It was great. I absolutely enjoyed it. I need to pick that up on Blu-ray, to be honest. I need to pick up the whole franchise. But that's the video today, guys. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. And if you've ever read this disgusting psychotic book, let me know. Later.